Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Rappahannock. My name is Jeff, and as some of you know, I'm very passionate about sound and vibrational healing. So it is my honor to introduce a beautifully gifted Tibetan bowl sound healer and an accomplished classical singer. She will be gracing the halls of our little sanctuary with transformative powers of positive vibration. And boy, oh boy, after this week, we need some little healing on this. So today's service will be about tapping the calming vibrations of peace to alleviate any anxieties of these chaotic times. Today, we light this chalice to tap into the divine peace that comes through the earth as we walk on it, or runs through the Tibetan bowls as a therapeutic, calming energy when we take the time to ground to it. This vibration lives in our heart when it's not dampened by fear. It sings loudly in our soul when we're not, all this anxiety is not tamping it down. And it comes down like a beautiful vibration of silence that fills us with this magnificent energy of peace that's known as Om. So earlier this year, Hugo invited me to the studio up in Kilmarnock to meet some friends of his and listen to a sound bath of Tibetan bowls. As soon as Esther started playing, I knew she was completely gifted. And when she put a layer of voice on top of it, I was like in a different world. And I knew somebody saw energy and vibration and how things go, the same way that I and many others do. So for a reading, we're going to invite Esther up to talk about a few thoughts on thought.
Hello, everyone. It's been a very important week, so I think this lesson is very powerful today. Hopefully you'll feel the same way. This is titled Thoughts Become Things, and excuse me for reading it. But in front of me, you're going to see two bottles of water. They're small, so you might not be able to read them. But both have come from the same water source. And for the past month, preparing for what happened this last week, I have been sitting at my desk, and every time I walk by these bottles, every time I sit down, every time I go to bed, I stop, I look at the bottles, and I speak to them. And the bottle on your left over here is the one that I labeled beautiful. Each time I would walk by, I would tell the water how beautiful it was, how grateful I was to be in its company, and I would thank it for providing nourishment for so many people. And the other bottle, I labeled ugly. And each time I walked by that, I would speak to it in harsh tones. And I would say things like, you are so ugly, you are so arrogant, you are so bitter, sound familiar? And no one likes you. And so it got me thinking about which bottle would I rather drink from. And have you ever taken the time to actually sit down and contemplate the impact your words, your thoughts, or your vibration have on your life and the life of those around you? Every time you utter a word, you sing a note, you form a thought, or say something positive or negative, you're releasing the power of your subconscious mind. Your words and your thoughts become vibrations that affect you and your surroundings. If you haven't already seen the movie from years ago called What the Bleep Do We Know, or haven't heard about Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese researcher and author, I highly suggest that you check out one of his many books, such as The Hidden Messages in Water. Dr. Emoto's studies were centered around the idea that words, thoughts, or feelings can actually alter the molecular structure of water. We drink water every day to support life, and water makes up around 60% of our bodies. So this has the potential to really change our health and our lives. In his experiments, Dr. Emoto exposed water to various words and thoughts, and then he used a microscope to observe ice crystals that would form on the water just before it froze and became solid ice. His results showed that just as no two snowflakes are the same, no two ice crystals were either. The results showed absolutely beautiful crystals formed when the water in a glass was exposed to positive words or thoughts like love or gratitude. However, the water exposed to negative influences like hate or anger resulted in distorted, incomplete, and discolored formations. He actually has little cards as well that you can see all the different shapes and sizes and what they look like and the colors and formations of these. He even took his experiments one step further and he moved into spiritual application. In one experiment, he asked 350 people to pray aloud around a lake. The lake in Japan was so badly polluted with algae that you couldn't see below the surface. And within a few weeks, for the first time in memory, the lake became perfectly clear. And he believed that prayer created a spiritual energy that unleashed healing power. This isn't new to anyone, but he did conclude that every word, thought, and intention we have leaves a ripple in the body of our water, or in the water of our body, excuse me. Our attitude, spiritual values, and outlook on life can definitely have an impact on our physical health. As a Tibetan singing bowl healer that uses classical singing all the time and uses it with my bowls, I can see firsthand what stuck energy looks like in the body and how it responds in a positive vibration is suddenly introduced. I can see the energy opening up, I can hear it in the bowls. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But the body can quickly realign and become in tune when given positive energy. We don't have to conduct experiments like Dr. Emoto to know that words matter. Our bodies are mostly water and vibrate at a frequency based on our thoughts and our emotions. If you pay attention to the words you use and the thoughts you entertain in your head, when someone else says something negative, don't claim it and don't hold on to it. Let it go. Express love and gratitude for your life, your lessons, and your talents, and watch your words transform you and the world around you.
Let's take a few minutes to sit back and think about those thoughts. I'm going to read something by Heather Christensen. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of the world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few large congregations, some medium congregations, and many, many, many small congregations like this. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members, each one of you, by your commitment, your time, energy, and resources. Individually and together, we are all Unitarian Universalists, building a world full of peace and justice, love and joy. If you're a first-time visitor, please let the basket pass you by, and know your presence here today is your most important gift to us. Thank you. Esther Heideman has made her life mission to use her musical gift to heal people. As an accomplished classical singer, Esther has performed as a soloist at the top orchestras and opera houses in the U.S., most notably Metropolitan Opera House, Carnegie Hall, the Kennedy Center, and the York Philharmonic, as well as other major concert halls throughout Europe and Asia. Using her knowledge and understanding of sound and vibration already gained from being a classical singer, Esther connected with a Tibetan Bowl Master from Nepal years ago, who started working with her on this ancient art form. You guys are in for such a treat. She now serves Washington, D.C. and Northern Neck area. Without further ado, Esther.
Thank you. So how many people here have ever heard of Tibetan singing bowls or gone to a healing? Good, a large number. So there's all different types of Tibetan bowls. There's all different types of bowls. They're made of glass. They're made of metal, they're made of crystal. You can make them out of anything that you want. There's all these different forms. Each one works slightly differently in the body. So the ones that I have here, these are all hand hammered. They're from Tibet. And they actually, it takes two people. The story is, and you can believe it, is that they actually will only make the hand hammered ones on a full moon. And they actually chant and they infuse the bowls with the energy of the full moon. And they believe the full moon is very spiritual, and they usually do a chant for the full moon as well, bringing in the healing power of the moon into the bowl. It takes two people about 1,200 hits to make one bowl. And it's just bent over a frame and stuff like that, which has a long sound. So it continues to play if I just hold it in my hand and I don't touch the edges. And I can kind of hear what's going on. The bowl will continue to play for about a minute or two, depending on which direction I'm hitting it. And that's kind of how they work. If somebody has a blockage in their body, or they're sick, or they just energetically feel off, the bowls will tell me the pitch will fall, it'll sound dampened, it'll sound out of tune. This week has been very interesting because everyone who's coming for healing, the energy's all over the place, and it takes a while for the bowls to calm down the energy of the person. So it's just a form of meditation, doing Tibetan singing bowls. I actually, about 10 years ago, I went to Hong Kong with my husband, and he had family there, and we always went on a pilgrimage to a Tibetan monastery called 10,000 Buddhas Monastery. We would go there like 2 to 3 times in a 2-week visit because we were just so obsessed with the 10,000 Buddhas and the energy of this place. And in all my years of going there, 20-some years now, I have never heard what I heard. And I was hiking up the mountain, and all of a sudden I heard monks chanting. And we've heard that before. They would normally do services or something. But all of a sudden it was something more sorrowful and yet joyful. And then I heard bells, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, but they were preparing for a cremation of one of their own. And they were chanting using huge Tibetan bowls. And they would have like 4 or 5 monks striking it at the same time and then chanting around it. And I just remember like going to the location and actually falling to my knees because it felt as if a part of me had been returned. And that's the only term I can use for it. I've always understood that music had the power to heal. I've always sung as far back as I can remember. I was in band, I was in choir, I was a classical singer, I traveled the world. But there was always something more to it. I always said the closest I ever felt to heaven was when I was on stage singing Handel's Messiah, or something like that. Like there's just such a spirituality to music and to healing that I've always been drawn to what it provides. And then my story kind of advanced after 9/11. I lived in New York. On that day I was supposed to be in the World Trade Center building with a friend of mine, meeting him for coffee. He didn't go to work and I didn't meet him there. And so I've always felt like I've been guided and told what was supposed to happen in life, and kind of from a distance energetically told where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. But after 9/11, the concerts we sang had different meaning. You could see in real time in the audience people being healed. You could see the tears, you could see the pain released, and you could feel the energy in a way that to that point in my life I'd never felt on stage. I felt a lot. I was once singing a concert, and I was singing "I Know My Redeemer Liveth" when a man keeled over and had a heart attack and died right there in front of me. And I watched it unfold as I'm singing this aria, and I thought, what a way to go. What a beautiful, like he knows his Redeemer liveth, and then dead. But it was just like, after 9/11, you could really sense the healing power of music. So when COVID hit, normally singers are booked 5 years out in advance for classical singers. They'll hire you and you'll be booked 5 years, 3 years, whatever, to know that you have concerts in different areas. When COVID hit, they canceled all my concerts within 24 hours for 5 years out. Because they didn't know what was going to happen, they didn't know what their funding was going to look like. But within 24 hours, all my work was canceled. And at first I was just heartbroken, like a lot of artists were, but then I started thinking about, I'm not just missing performing, I'm not just missing the financial aspect, I'm missing the spiritual aspect. And I was so drawn to the idea that as a soloist who stands on the front of the stage, if you sit in an audience and you listen to a concert, you can feel that vibration on your body a little bit. It's not the same as a soloist standing at the front of the stage. When you have a whole orchestra and choir behind you, it's this vibrational healing that moves through you, and it shifts your energy in such a way that most people have never felt that. And I had never felt that until I was standing right on the stage in the midst of it all. It's kind of why we go to church. We want to be part of something greater than us. We can feel the energy, as we did earlier, from the people around us. But that is a different form of energy than you can even put into words. So when all my work was canceled, I remembered the monks. And it came to me very clearly that I needed to find out more about these Tibetan singing bowls. At the time, I had a ballet dancer friend who was going through chemo and radiation for cancer. So she went from being an active ballet dancer to being completely unable to do anything, even get a massage. The treatments were so intense that her lymphatic would just back up from the treatments, and everything was painful. And her oncologist said, find a Tibetan singing bowl healer and it will help you. And it gave her energy back. So I was very interested in it. I went to Florida immediately within the first month of being out there and having COVID lock everything down. And I became trained in them. And I was doing it for myself. I was just going to take a weekend class and just like get some healing in my body. And immediately, like, I just understood it. I fell in love with it. I felt like it made sense with all of my life, all of my musical talents. I can hear what's going on in the bowls. I can sense the timing of energy and what you have to do. And so I just bought my first couple sets of bowls. And since that time, I've been using them in healing for the last 4 years. And it's just been a magical journey. I'm able to hear through sound, through real time, if I use them near somebody. If I hear the pitch change, even in a group, if I hear the pitch change, I know that person needs grounding. This is a grounding bowl. This is the lowest that I have. And I can hear what's going on in the body. I can hear if there's a blockage. I can hear if there's cancer. I can hear if there is something that's just dis-ease in the body. If you have some sort of minor sickness, if I play the heart bowl, I can hear, oh, the person might have pneumonia or bronchitis or a cold coming on or something like that. You can just sense the energy of somebody through pitch. And you can tell, does the energy change throughout the session? So in a group healing, if there's people sitting all around me, kind of like you are, I'll strike the bowl from one side and then the other side. And I'll just be sending it, and the vibration that comes back to my ear tells me what's going on with the person, and I can just kind of diagnose things. You can see their breath slowing down, much like we all go to a yoga class and we can say, Om, and we all start on different pitches. The second time around, we're all on the same pitch magically. Same with singing a hymn, you all start on different pitches and then everyone's on the same pitch. We all intone, our bodies are self-tuning. We all want to tune to a higher vibration. So even given all the political stuff that's happened the last week or so, just tune yourself up to a higher vibration. Our bodies always want to lift us up. And anything that's pure tone, children have pure energy. They usually don't need bowls. They're already really pure in nature. And so that sort of energy can lift you up. Those friends near you that always have really good energy and you can't wait. When you're in a really bad mood, you always pick up the phone and call the same person because their energy is amazing and it can lift you up. So this is what I'm doing through these bowls, is just kind of healing. Each bowl represents a different chakra energy, a different energy point in the body. And all I'm doing is playing them in different patterns, trying to circulate the energy from the bottom to the top, across the body, zigzagging through the body. It enters the body in different ways depending on the pitch. So these big bowls that I have are meant to be used on the body. You can put them directly on, sorry, I'm getting too close to the mic. Put them directly on the body and you can vibrate the bowl if somebody's lying down, and it feels like nothing you've ever experienced on the heart. It just opens up the heart and it just zings. If somebody has like a spiritual, they're just feeling heavy. They don't feel inspired. They don't feel like there's something greater than themselves out there. If they've experienced loss, usually their head feels heavy. So that's where I use the small bowls. The small bowls are much higher in pitch and they enter through the head and kind of come down into the head for an out-of-body sort of meditational experience. So the different bowls when I use the bowls and I play with the bowls and I work with the bowls, I'm just trying to shift any stuck energy. So as I do it today, just think of it as a meditation. Normally you're just closing your eyes and feeling it, and your body will start, if you're acutely aware of your body, you'll start to unspiral. And you'll feel almost like you're doing little circles in your head or in your body. And that's just telling you how stuck your energy was and just shifting the energy a little bit. I've taken it one step further. In the traditional Tibetan culture, men are healers and women are not. I don't believe that. And so I actually have been searching out different chants and different healing, just anything that I can think of, any note series or anything that I can think of that are sung by Tibetan monks that are female. So that's what I'm drawn to, and I do a lot of those sorts of meditations as well, and I sing with the bowls because it's just, it intensifies it just a little bit. You can feel that like pull of energy. If I hit two bowls that are dissonant, your body reacts like this a little bit. But then when it resolves, if you ever hear somebody sing dissonant tones that don't quite go together, close together, and then they resolve it, your body goes, ah. And that's what I'm trying to do with the bowls. So I'm just trying to combine my energy as a singer and also as a healer. And these can actually calm down anxiety. They can help your body meditate. You usually, if you're in an hour-long session, you'll fall into a deep sleep. Some people will fall into a deep sleep within 5 seconds. They'll be snoring. You'll know they're in REM sleep because then they start going. You never know. Other people, they're acutely awake the whole time. Other people say, I couldn't drop down, but they're actually snoring the whole time. Or you'll see, you know when a dog is sleeping and they do this sort of thing and they start twitching? People do that as well. So your body starts to do these twitches, and all that is the energy releasing. Or you might say, oh, my heart rate, it started to go really fast and it started to pump really fast. What I see as the practitioner is that if you are lying down, about 5 minutes into it, everybody's neck starts going boom, 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 boom. And it's working your circulatory system as well as your lymphatic system. And it's just flushing your body. So it's really fascinating to watch. We all start breathing here in the chest first. And then as you get into a deeper meditative state, doesn't matter what kind of meditation, you're not breathing up here, you're only breathing down here in the body. And in your lower abdominals, it looks like a really wild ocean where the waves are going every direction. So if I put a bowl there, you'd see the bowl start going like this, and it's just shifting all the way around. It's fascinating to just watch and to hear and to see. All of a sudden people will twitch or they'll moan or they're just releasing something. Everything that I was talking about earlier, all those negative things that were ever said to you, whether it was a word that somebody said to you making fun of you when you were in the first grade, or like something negative that happened. It can be trauma, it can be loss, a personal loss. Oftentimes that's held in our body. It's held underneath our belly button. And we just hold those emotions and don't even realize that we're holding them. And we just need a way to release them. And vibration is that way. We sing, we can hum, we can go om, and we feel the vibration in our bodies and we can release that emotion out so that we're not being weighed down by it. It's not making us sick. So much of our disease is actually coming from something that we're holding on to, and we just have to get to the root core of what it is that we're holding on to. Even things like Parkinson's, like MS, those sorts of illnesses, a lot of it, your brain can only release certain chemicals when it's in the sleep mode. If you're not able to fall into that deep sleep mode, your brain can't relax enough that the chemicals can be released. And so it intensifies everything as far as symptoms. So even just allowing yourself to meditate, to drop down into a lower meditational energy, it allows your body to then release those chemicals and you start feeling better. So we're going to try, the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to lead you through a meditational experience. You can just close your eyes, relax. It's up to you if you want to ground your feet. Normally you're lying down. If anybody wants to, they can. But normally you're just lying down, but you just want to listen to it, and I'll sing along with it, I'll chant. Get as comfortable as you want, do whatever you feel like doing. And then at the end, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. See what you're experiencing. See if you feel like all of a sudden the energy is caught in a particular part of your body. Is it caught in your throat this week? Is it caught in your heart? When you feel the energy, when you see and can close your eyes, you'll feel where that energy is. So I'm just going to lead you through a little bit of a meditation, And then I'll kneel down here and I'll be playing the bowls and just kind of lead you through some singing, you're just sitting there quietly. You don't have to do anything. Your only job is to calm your mind. And you may think your mind is doing a big to-do list. That's fine, that's kind of what happens. It goes through a really quick to-do list, so it's like everything on your mind is going zing, 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 crossing it off, while your body is becoming one with the floor underneath you. That's kind of how it works. So as we start, I want you first to close your eyes. And I want you to think of the beautiful fall colors out there. And how this week, you might, when you take a deep breath in, you might feel caught in your body. So just for a second, breathe in through your nose. Do you feel your shoulders going up? Do you feel as if your body just can't quite relax, can't quiet the mind? Now imagine yourself as a little child, and it's a beautiful fall day, and there's a big pile of leaves of all different colors. And as a little child, you just want to run and jump in those leaves. That innocence, that feeling, that sparkle behind the eyes, as if you have a secret to share with everybody. That's the sort of energy that we all remember as a kid. If you didn't do it yourself, you know that you had a dog or watched a dog go running and jumping in those leaves. And so when you think of that, I want you to think of the joy that moment brought to you. And wherever you feel tight in your body, if you're breathing in, allow that joy to be sent to that area. So if I feel tight in my throat, I'm going to think that I'm bringing that energy to my throat with a big smile in my eyes. And each time you think of those beautiful leaves, I want you to think as well, is there a favorite tree, a favorite color? Something that really makes you happy when you see the fall colors. And as I play today the different bowls, if your mind starts its to-do list again, I just want you to think about relaxing your tongue. The back of your tongue, let it be very calm, very relaxed. Let your tongue feel in your body as if it's very heavy. It's that feeling you get right before you fall asleep, when your body starts to go really quiet. And as I play each of these bowls, if your mind wants to still be active, go back into that state where all of a sudden it feels like each one of these different bowls is just the wind. It's picking up leaves and turning them around and blowing them in the wind, allowing any stuck energy in your body to just release. When you get ready, just take a deep breath in. See See if your energy has shifted at all, or if you actually feel as if you're breathing a little bit deeper. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes. And just notice when you're ready, you can just how you feel. It was a shorter session, but hopefully you feel a little bit lighter. You can just shift your energy and close your eyes and let your body kind of go into that space whenever you need. But hopefully you feel a little bit lighter. Does anybody have
Just shift your energy
questions?
and close your eyes and let your body kind of go into that
Sure.
space whenever you
I've never had the opportunity before,
Does anybody?
never had the opportunity before to experience
I've never
in person
before.
multiple bowls and chanting and stuff. I'm familiar with Mr. Wu in person, and I would love to find you and talk to you lots.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I was twitching like a crazy person.
Yeah, the twitches are just stuck energy, so this week especially people,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're twitching for women on your left side, that's your feminine energy. Yeah, the twitches are just stuck energy, so this week especially people,
Yeah.
if you're twitching for women on your left side, that's your feminine energy.
Okay,
If you're twitching on the right side, that's your masculine energy.
okay. It was
For
mostly
men,
on
it's
the
the
left, but
opposite.
sometimes it was balanced.
Yeah, and for men, it's the opposite, but right now, the twitches are just energy that's stuck. So whenever we have energy and it's gonna start releasing, it'll feel differently depending on the moment, but it'll feel like a balloon that fills up and then it just goes like that. Or sometimes it's just a really fast twitch, and that's just the stuck energy leaving your knee or your hip or anything else, yeah.
Yeah, my leg and my back, but for me, my understanding of it is when the twitch just happens, that's the releasing of energy, but sometimes I can just feel the tension in the muscle.
Yeah,
But that I can feel
yeah.
without it releasing.
Yeah, so you'll feel a pull almost, like where,
Yeah.
when the bowls are working wherever it's tight, you're
Yeah.
gonna feel this pull, and it's almost like it just starts pulling in like this, and then it
Yeah.
zooms and releases.
Lower back.
But it might not have been long enough, yeah, it might not have just reached that point yet, you know? Yeah,
No, but it was good.
good, you're very welcome.
I've always struggled with the monkey mind,
Yes,
because I'd be into it and then all of a sudden I'd be thinking of something else. I actually caught myself clenching
yeah,
and had to stop. Practice, I mean.
yeah, whenever we get
what's the best way
stressed,
to?
whenever our monkey mind kicks in, or whenever we get stressed, we clench in our molars, and we clench between our teeth, and we bring the jaw, the bottom of the jaw back toward our ear, and that's why we get tight necks, tight shoulders. So it's this feeling of, I always call it my Kardashian. So I call it my Kardashian lip, where I feel like I'm puckering my lips ever so slightly. And I try to do that sort of thing. But all that's doing is creating space. If you slightly pucker your lips, and I always call it, it's either Kardashian or it's like the teenager going, what? What? That sort of thing. What you're doing is relaxing the tongue, you're relaxing the jaw, and that clears the brain. When the brain is really active, there's actually studies done with dentists and things like that, that if you clench between the molars, there's a connection here. So if you're somebody who bites down all the time there, you're actually spasming your phrenic nerve or your nervous system, and you're biting here, your vagus nerve, and it's spasming, and you're feeling that like, it's like a fight or flight constantly in your brain. So to relax it, you want to constantly just feel as if you're creating space between these molars, as if you're gonna just kind of drop that bottom part of your jaw a little bit. But it just takes practice. The more you try to meditate, the faster it's going to happen to drop down. Don't give up just because your brain goes elsewhere. A great tool is to exercise beforehand. And as long as you've moved your body, that's what monks always do, they exercise beforehand. Because we should have told everyone to do yoga this morning. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one. Is there an order in which you do the bowls?
So I always start the same way, usually. In a group class, I always start with the one that I did today, which is sending the energy up, down, across, zigzagging through the body. I like to see where people are at. And we had some grounding issues. We had some guts that were out of alignment. We're not listening to our intuition this week, but grounding is a big thing. So that's kind of immediately I can tell, like, oh, that bowl, it'll hit and then it'll go, and I can hear the weird vibratos in it. So I can kind of hear what's going on in the bowls, but that's what I heard today. But I often start that way just because it gives me, it kind of puts your mind at ease. So there's like a sequence that you always start with in a group setting. When I do privates, I do this setting where you're lying normally on the floor, or for privates, you're on a massage bed, and there's it's a wooden massage bed with special wood tables clamped to it. And you feel the vibration that way, much like I talked about as a singer. For that, I can put the bowls directly on people, and I can put it on the heart, the stomach. You can work like, let's say your knee is bothering you. I can't put it on the knee joint itself, but I can put it here on your leg, or I can put it on your calf, and the energy will start to shift through it. And so you can feel the shifts in energy, and you can kind of feel a release of pain. It often will help with pain that way. Or if somebody's been through something emotional, there's an entire series that I can do to release the emotions. And it's a certain set of pitches and things like that, and I just keep repeating it until I feel like the person is ready for adding in the next pitch and the next pitch. And their body usually tells me what it is. It's harder in a group setting because you can't make it specific to that one person, but yeah.
Several months ago, my sister was visiting, and I took her to Esther, and we had a duo session, and my sister had recently a heart attack, and it was pretty severe, and she still had some heart damage, although she was doing remarkably well. And Esther put the bowl on her heart, and I was laying next to her, and we were both, meditating and doing our thing, and I would hear my sister's heart bowl stopped ringing, just like it would vibrate and then it would just stop. And I thought, that's very odd. I didn't understand what was going on. Esther explained that
It's
later.
the inflammation leaving yet, yeah.
It was quite remarkable and interesting.
When you think of the bowls, because your body is so much water, the bowls are, when I'm playing them in the different sequence and stuff that's pulled into certain body parts, the bowls are shifting energy, so it's like ripples across the water. So when you think of boats crossing and doing things like that, one movement across the water or across the body is going to move slower than up and down because of the way it moves and stuff. So the vibrations are hitting like a pie almost, where they're just hitting all over your body, and it's sending out new vibrations when two vibrations crossed. And so you'll hear like one pitch kind of come in and another one goes out, but then it's sending a new vibrational ripple. And so we're just trying to move your body using the ripples.
So my question is, what part does intentionality play in this? So if you are playing in a room and you have some people that are really focused on what you're doing and some people who aren't, is it going to affect them differently?
It affects everyone the same, but the mind is the part that I can't control. So it's like the mind-body connection with medicine. We kind of, we have our Eastern medicine, our Western medicine. Eastern tended to use more mind-body connection. Then we went to Western, which was just, we're going to heal what's wrong. Now we're going back and we're including the mind into that because we realize we can't heal the body without healing the mind. So that the same thing is happening when we're in this. It's hard in a group setting like this. If you're not relaxing on the floor with a blanket and feeling super comfortable, that sort of thing, it's harder to close your mind and relax. But it was interesting just watching people, how heads started coming forward. And it's just interesting, like you'll notice certain things. You'll notice that people stop fidgeting as much when they close their eyes. When they're in that moment, you're just connecting with something. We're always connecting with Father Sky, however you want to refer to it, Mother Earth. So even if you sat and you stand or sit and you think that you're going to curl your toes under like this, you'll feel the energy and you'll feel stronger in your body. If somebody tried to push you over, they can't push you over in the same way because your intent is to pull up the energy from Mother Earth and ground yourself a little bit more. So there's different tricks like that that you can do even when you're trying to relax your brain. If your brain won't shut off and you have the monkey brain, just keep focusing on that relaxing the tongue, whatever feeling it is for you. And that's just going to calm you out this week, especially the level, no matter which side you're on, the levels of anxiety and the levels, you can feel it in the air. I had so much anxiety on election day. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. Like I will sense when bad things are going to happen or when something is going to be energetic shift. I had so much anxiety. My husband just kept looking at me like I was crazy. I said, I don't know what's going on. Like I just needed to be alone and sit and meditate because I could feel that there was a big energy shift, whatever that was. So I think as long as your mind is calming down and you're trying to calm your mind.
What I would like to know is, what do scientists
think about it?
So there've been a lot of studies through NIH that they're starting to realize, hey, this actually works. So we've had a lot of studies done. They've done a lot of studies on Parkinson's and MS suddenly. They've done a lot of studies on how it helps your sleep, because by doing this, you tend to fall asleep very quickly and you tend to sleep more soundly, so you get into the different states of sleep. So they're taking it disease by disease and they're kind of breaking it down. This is all part of a huge study from way back when. The Greeks knew about it. Certain cultures, they had caves underground where they would have, it was tuned to this specific frequency. And there's even websites out there, you have cancer, you're gonna heal with this frequency. You have this sort of illness, you're gonna heal it with this frequency. So they all have this history. Chinese had it, India, they had it. The Tibetans had it. Like every culture has these little healing things that they do. But not everybody believes in it, so you know what I mean? It's interesting. I mean, I think they've been around for a long time. There were a lot of different healers using different modalities. We think of medicine, the medicine doctors or the medicine wheel for the native Indians, like they had a different understanding of plants and nature and how it healed us than I think we have necessarily today with a lot of people. So I think it just depends. I think connecting the mind and the body is the key to like healing. And they are doing studies. They even have some really huge bowls, and I mean like fill up the center of here, and they hang a hammock over it, and then they do bowls and things like that, and the vibration just moves through your body. I'm hoping to buy one that's a football, and it's a couple feet across, and you put your feet in it, and I'm telling you, you have never felt anything like that. My teacher does it on my head and that at the same time, and your whole body is just like that. But it feels so amazing. Like it's a vibrational healing that you, even just from hearing it, you're not getting even like a tenth of what is capable of the bowls, putting it on the body and stuff. Yeah.
We're
I'm sorry, we're
10 minutes over, but we're going to take 2 more questions and then we'll
Well, this is a quick one. So as much as I loved hearing the sound of the words and the chanting, I am curious about if you know the translation of those words.
Yeah, so Om Mani Padme Hum is the one that I just did, and that is about healing and compassion. So I'm asking for healing, and I'm asking for compassion. And it's just, it's actually the chant. I've been obsessed with that chant and the Green Terra chant. And those were the 2 that the Dalai Lama said to use for COVID and for healing for the last 4 years. I didn't know that, but I was obsessed with those. They just, like, I found them and I was like, I have to hear this, I have to learn this, I have to listen to this. But yeah, they're like, may you use my body as a vessel for healing and for compassion. Yeah. I usually use Tibetan or Sanskrit type. Yeah.
So there are 2 other technologies that work with vibration. I was wondering if you know anything about them and how they would relate to bowls. One is binaural beats, and the other is the plates that you stand on that vibrate.
Well, I love the vibrating plates. They have those at Motion Studios that are just the vibrating back and forth. Do you know what she's talking about?
They have them for dogs too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing, like in the way that they move the energy in your body from like a pain sort of standard. It's just shifting your energy and shaking back and forth. I'm not as familiar with like the studies, or I've done the shaking one, but I haven't done the first one. I mean, I know about them because they exist for Lyme disease and stuff. And there's people online that talk about the different beats and the different notes and how this helps with healing Lyme disease. It's a big thing with Lyme disease, is my understanding, but I don't know as much about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As you guys, any questions you have, where can they find you?
Oh, yeah. So I have business cards here I can give anybody who's interested, and you can reach out to me directly. I do group classes every Saturday night at 5 o'clock at Motion Studios in Kilmarnock, right on Church Street. And I also do private healings as well. So for that, I do it right out of my home in Kilmarnock. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love will remain the center. All we can see is cold ashes, love remains.
So I have one more chant to do right now. This one is actually, it's a mantra asking for help, for compassion, for strength and healing, and liberate me from disease and from suffering. It's called Om Tare Tu Tare. Om da re tu re so ha. 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 Om da